Hey physics, Mr. Hausman here. We're going to take a look at horizontal projectiles, and specifically not just understanding how they work, what they look like, but how to predict unknown variables. For example, how much time in the air, how far do they land, or maybe what is the displacement vertically when they drop. It depends on all the given. So we've already seen this problem in class, and we're going to kind of emphasize that almost all projectile problems, when you read them, you need to draw them. So let's kind of just put a note here, although you have some notes already in your packet. And what I mean by that is draw the projectile, show its horizontal velocity, if that's given, and show the other information that's provided, such as the delta y, or the fact that this monkey is throwing the coconut sideways, and we want to find out its range. How far out from the tree does it land, which that's also called the delta x. And if you were here the other day, what you found out is that we have to separate our vertical, right, data from our horizontal data. And the reason is because they are independent. Okay, we're going to write that in actually, right? The independence of the x and y data means you can't mix them. You can't muddle them together. I used to teach it, oops, I don't think that's spelled right. I used to teach it with one list of variables, and students got very confused because there was a lot to keep track of. So separating that data, building this table will help. So let's put in what we have. We know that the projectile is going to fly at 5 meters per second sideways. It is going to start with a vertical velocity of 0. Now, why is that true? Because all projectiles launched horizontally start with that assumption. There is no sideways velocity. As this thing flies through the air, the horizontal velocity stays constant, but it starts at 0. Now, it eventually builds up speed in the vertical, but it always starts at 0. The acceleration due to gravity is negative 10 meters per second every second. So we write that as 10 meters per second squared. And the delta y, which was in the picture, it's not in the writing, is a drop of negative 10 meters. And most of you have that from class, okay? So now the part that we didn't clarify is, what do I do with that data? Well, the key step is to look at both sides separately and ask yourself which side has more given information. And specifically, on the y side, does it have 3 given? If that's the case, then it's time to start with that data. And you might say, well, what do you mean start? Well, what's the unknown? Well, the ultimate question is, how far out does the projectile land? And the key, and this can't be stressed more importantly, is that we're going to have to find the time for the ball to drop vertically, or excuse me, the coconut to drop vertically. And then the time to drop equals the time for the coconut to fly. Remember, we proved that in our lab where we launched marbles. The time vertical, straight down, should be the same as the time sideways. So how do we go about doing that? Well, let's zoom in. Well, when we were in our linear motion section, we learned about accelerated motion. And there's actually a few, they're not typos here, but it looks like something got partially erased in my copy. We've got V final equals V initial plus AT. We've got delta y equals VIT plus 1/2 AT squared. And then probably the most complicated one, V final squared equals V initial squared plus 2A delta y, or we could just call that y. And we have to pick which one are we going to use based on knowing the V initial, the A, and the delta y. And yes, it is a coincidence that they're both negative 10, but they mean totally different things. The acceleration being how much it is changing its velocity, and delta y, how far. Some people look at that and go, oh, they're the same. They're not. They've got different units. So which formula has VI, A, and has T in it? And the one that's jumping off the page for me is number 2, because it has a delta y, it has a VI, and it has the ability to solve for T. But I wonder if some of you are maybe going, but that's complicated because there's a T here, there's a T here. We're going to see that it's not that bad. Let's zoom out and let's write that formula. Delta y equals VIT plus 1/2 AT squared. And now let's plug in what we know. Negative 10 meters equals V initial 0 times T. And I'm going to put that in parentheses just to remind ourselves to separate it. Plus 1/2 times negative 10 meters per second squared times T squared. And what you see is that 0 times T is 0. So it doesn't add anything to the equation. So it really becomes just simply negative 10 equals, and I can do this in my head, half of negative 10 is negative 5, T squared. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 5. That comes out to be 2 equals T squared. And if I now square root both sides, I'm doing a lot of steps quickly. Hit pause if you need to. I can take the square root of 2 on my calculator. Be careful. Some people do try to do that kind of from memory, and that's a little tricky. Comes out to be 1.4 seconds. So that projectile hits the ground. You've predicted that it will hit the ground in 1.4 seconds. And you say, but that's not what we're trying to solve for. So here's what you do. All projectile problems are 2 steps. Let's plug in 1.4 seconds here. Let's plug in 1.4 seconds here. But we've made a big jump. We've found the time in the air. The last step is to focus in on the fact that we now have 2 of the 3 horizontal motion variables. And there's only one equation that can be used for non-accelerated motion. Remember, the horizontal motion is very steady. It just moves through the air at a steady speed. So no acceleration needed. And we're going to solve for delta x. So let me zoom out, go to the bottom of the page, and let's write that formula. Let's write it for ourselves. I do know that that's repeating it, but I picked that equation. Now to get the t alone, we're going to get the t out of both sides, and t times vx equals delta x. These are all algebra skills you have. Let's see, should have done that in red. Let's plug in 1.4 seconds times a horizontal speed of 5 meters per second equals delta x. And that's pretty easy to do on your calculator. 1.4 times 5. And you find out that the projectile lands 7 meters down the beach. Well, that's where the coconut lands. So you better stand back 7 meters to not get hit by the monkey throwing the coconut. And if you think about it, that's pretty cool. You're not guessing. You know exactly where that projectile is going to land. Now, let's review our steps. We plugged in our data up here. We separated our horizontal and vertical variables. And one of the things that might be difficult is if you don't know how to assign variables. If you don't recognize the units for velocity, meters per second, the units for acceleration, meters per second squared, or the units for displacement, meters. Of course, time, most people get right, is seconds. And then what was our next step? We figured out what side had the most data. We picked the formula that allowed us to solve for t, and t is going to be the key that unlocks these problems. So we found our t, and then we brought it over to our horizontal side. So now we're on step 3, and we used the only formula for non-accelerated motion, and in this case, we solved for delta x. Every problem's a little different, but that's how you do a typical problem. Now, whoa, all of a sudden, page 10, and there's not much help, or all you see is a much smaller problem. So you, as a problem solver who's gaining experience, have to be able to look at the picture, and I know that's a little hard to read. Let's make this perhaps a little bit bolder. That's 6 meters per second, that's 20, but you need to turn that into negative 20. And it is not a rise, it is a drop, right? This person's jumping or running off the cliff, and the question is, how far out do they land? Isn't this the same problem as the coconut problem? So let's build our table. And with experience, you'll know to put x before y, to list your variables, vx, delta x, t, and there's only 3 of them. And in the y side, there's 5 of them. Now, you only might find that you know 3. We'll never use all of them, okay? Very few problems unless it has more steps. The V initial in the X, right? That's a horizontal direction. So that's 6 meters per second over there. Let's see. Now on the vertical side, we've got a 0 meters per second. We've got a negative 10 meters per second squared. Look back at the earlier part of this video, and negative 20. These are assumptions that are true for all projectiles that are launched horizontally. Okay, I bet you remember from just a little bit earlier, we're going to find the t. We're going to bring the t over there, but we have to calculate it first. So let's pick our formula. It's this second one. Delta y equals VIT plus 1/2 AT squared. Now we're going to plug in negative 20 meters equals 0. And hey, every time we're going to plug in a V initial of 0, it essentially means this whole term just drops out. But we're going to acknowledge that. We're just going to write in a 0. Half of negative 10 meters per second squared times t squared. Negative 20 equals negative 5 t squared. Right? Adding 0 doesn't do anything. All I'm doing is doing half of gravity, negative 10. And now let's divide by negative 5. This one's actually even easier. 4 equals t squared. And so what I mean by that is, I bet a lot of you can do that in your head. The time is 2 seconds. So where do we put it? You can put it in both sides of the table. And there's a little bit of room over here on the side. I didn't leave a lot of room. That's one of the, I guess, things of maybe learning how to do this, learning how to use space. So I've parked a little space over here. And the only formula for horizontal motion is Vx equals delta x over t. It's in your equation card from earlier, or you could just look back a page. And the delta x is equal to v times t, or 6 times 2, or 12 meters out. Certainly, I don't expect you to be able to do it that fast, but follow my model and try to, of course, use your calculator to finish any of your calculations. So how far out does it land? 12 meters from the base of the cliff. I guess it's a person, quite a brave runner, okay? Now, the last problem, I'm going to give you less support. I'm going to stop at the point where I fill out the table. And you're going to say, oh, that's a little tricky, okay? So what we're going to do here is we're going to separate x and y data, horizontal and vertical. Our Vx is given, 3 meters per second. Our range, our delta x, is actually provided at 6 meters. Uh-oh, that's different. We've never seen one where we're given 2 pieces of data and we don't know the time from the horizontal. So let's see which side is going to make more sense to solve first. Come on, pen. There it goes, delta y. So is this still a valid assumption? Yep. All horizontal projectiles start at 0 in the vertical. They accelerate downward as they're in free fall. And we're going to try to figure out the y. That's the ultimate unknown. I hope some of you notice that the time on the left is now easier to find from the horizontal data. And you're like, but we haven't done that yet. So I'm going to expect that you can try, show me your best work, to basically use the only horizontal. This will be your next step. If this is step 1, now we're on step 2. Solve that for t. And then step 3, I think we have a little room. We're going to use delta y equals VIT plus 1/2 AT squared. And look what we'll have. We will have a V initial of 0. We'll have A is negative 10. We'll have T. We will square it. And essentially, if you want to find your delta y in step 3, simply just kind of reversing the order of your steps. So that's it. Hope you have a great start and you followed along and have a little more confidence with solving horizontal projectiles.